I am so sorry for what you guys just had to witness. Apparently, when Streamlabs does an update, it takes away your settings of like what should autoplay and what doesn't, and just puts everything to autoplay. Um, yeah, sorry for that absolute ear assault you probably all just got. Yeah, sorry about that. It's still going, isn't it? Yeah, it's still going. Okay, give me 2 secs. That was painful. I apologise to everybody involved in that one. My bad. Right, let me make sure that none of them should have auto-played. They're all set to hidden. So I do no idea why any of them auto-played. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Oh, it's only my voice. Okay, so on my settings, every single song was playing at the same time, and I thought you guys all just got murked. Sorry. Okay, it's my thing being an absolute mess. You know what? Since we're already here and you're talking to a starting soon screen, let's just get straight into this bad boy. So, here we go. Hello, everybody. How you all doing? Welcome to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast, another plague surgery. As you can see, a little different this week. We've implemented the TTS, so we're going to physically be able to get your actual screen, your actual units out. It's lagging a bit there just because there's so many units on the screen. Don't worry, that will go away. Let me just delete a bunch of these things. Don't need anything left there. And we'll come to here. There we go. We hide away like that. Helps it go a bit quicker. So, yeah, we're going to basically try and physically build the models on the actual, build the actual list on the screen here. To sort of give visual representation of what your list looks like, and then we can obviously talk about things from there. Part of that is exactly the same. If you are here in the chat and you have a list that you want looking at, and that's in the blight surgery, feel free to like tag me and let me know, and I'll have a look at your list. Try and prioritize people who are here and active, because it just gets a bit back and forth, but I will try and work through. It has been about 2 or 3 weeks since we did the last one because of like London, and then I was dead for a week from being ill, and then we're finally getting back into it now. So hopefully you guys can forgive me a bit. So first up today on the random roundabout, we're going to go with Fenix toss. So in this list here, right? Okay, let's have a look. So we're going to have, so we're playing Champions of Contagion. So we need a Biology Putrefier, whack. Well, let's also get rid of this annoying fog. Then we need a Demon Prince of Nurgle, and we'll go grab the snazzy one. There we go. Demon Prince of Nurgle. We need a Lord of Contagion, a Lord of Virulence, a Lord of Contagion, because 50mm base, Supremacy. We'll never change our ways, Lord of Virulence, Malignant Playcaster, and Typhus. So Malignant Playcaster and the big man Typhus himself as well. So we've got a lot of characters there. A big bunch of characters for our Champions Contagion. Then we've got 10 Plague Marines with a Rhino. So we need a Rhino over here. I'm just going to delete these knights to the back, just trying to get the frame rate down a bit. 10 Plague Marines. Let's grab a bunch of you guys here. There we go. Just grab them. Control-C, Control-V. 10 Plague Marines. We got the Rhino. Then we have 5 Blightlord Terminators. Let's go grab some Blightlord Terminators. There we go. These are these little fellas here. So again, I'm not going to go too worried about the actual weapon loadouts. Then we have Predator Annihilator. Okay, interesting. So we don't have an Annihilator here, weirdly, so we'll just take a Predator. So that's the Predator Annihilator there. Then we're going to have 2 Chaos Spawn. 2 Chaos Spawn, let's grab them in. 6 Death Shroud Terminators. Dave would be very proud of you. So boop boop, into a big squad there. And then we're going to have 2 Mythic Blight Haulers and 2 squads of 10 Poxwalkers. So 1 Mythic Blight Hauler, 2 Mythic Blight Hauler, and 2 squads of Poxwalkers. Now, if this is looking horrific on the stream because of lag of frame rate, let me know and we'll just go back to standard. Hopefully, it won't be too bad. Thank you very much, Mabodo, for becoming a Plague Marine, and thank you very much to the Laser Chicken for the gifted membership there. I appreciate it massively. Everything you do keeps lights on, and once you are a member, make sure you join the Discord, get yourselves in here and involved. So, let's have a look at this list then. So we've got all of our units here. So we've got a nice big 6-man Death Shroud Rob. We've got 5 Loud Terminators. We've got 2 Chaos Spawn. Malignant Playcaster is going to be joining the 10 Plague Marines over here with the Biology Putrefier. They're obviously going to have the Rhino as well. So, in this list, what are we thinking? So, right now, so first up, we've got final ingredient list Biology Putrefier as well. Now, it's Champions of Contagion, and we do have a Demon Prince here. Now, Demon Prince in Champions of Contagion is a bit of a weird one for me because it very much, this is an attachment that really wants its CP. We don't have a Tallyman here, I don't believe, as well. Yeah, we have no Tallyman. And the Demon Prince obviously gives you a 3 stratagem a turn, but he's also not going to have the Feel No Pain enhancement, which is the thing that really makes him crack and work well in the Virulent Vectorium. So, do we like Demon Prince at 190 points without Feel No Pain? In the game, currently at the moment, I'd be hesitant to say yes. Another thing is he gets no benefit himself from Champions of Contagion. So you've got this 190 point unit that's gaining very little from being in this attachment. But he gives out the free strats, but I feel like his job could be done better, as well as giving you something like home screening with just 2 Tallymen, and then you'd also have the spare like 195 odd points to work with as well. You have 100 points Tallyman, and you have 95 points spare to then go and get yourself something else in your list, whether it's like another unit of Chaos Spawn or something like that. Now, in terms of damage output in this list, we've got a big 6-man Death Shard brick, probably going to be joined by the Lord of Contagion, is going to be my guess. I'm going to guess Lord of Virulence with the 5-man Blight Lords, and then Typhus probably going to go solo is my initial assumption here. So, if we look at it, we got 1 big brick of Death Shard. Now, I don't mind a big brick of Death Shard inside Champions of Contagion, provided that the rest of your list has the ability to sort of play a bit more flexible. One thing that does worry me here is that we have this big expensive brick here, and we also have this big expensive brick here. We tend to see in Champions, especially when it comes to Champions, we tend to see, if we take a Plague Marine brick, the rest tends to be MSU style. So you'll see like 3 Death Shroud with Lord of Contagions and maybe 2 of those squads, just to have a bit of MSU pressure. The game is very good at the moment, and certain armies doing very well, like Eldar and World Eaters, because they're very good at killing busting bricks. They're called brick busters. So unit like this, now admittedly being able to get these guys up to T9 is pretty good. So I do like having this 1 brick. I would advise, though, that because this brick is quite expensive here, and we've also got this Demon Prince and this big Plague Marine squad, I feel like something needs to give way somewhere. Also, I'm not sure if I like Blight Lord Terminators with Lord of Virulence here. The reason for it is Lord of Virulence himself is a good unit, but you really want to make use of his rerolls to hit. And in here, there isn't really much that's going to make the most out of it. Like this all auto hits. His squad gets a bit of shooting support. That's not too bad. This squad can get probably going to have on-demand full rerolls when it wants it. This guy here, to the last cannon predator, we'll get onto in a minute. But again, it's only 3 shots. There's no like heavy bloat drones. There's no like anything that's like, you don't have tons of demon engines. So my question is a 100-point character bringing enough support for this army to justify himself? The answer would be no overall. So the second question becomes, does the character justify him buffing his own squad? Now, giving full rerolls to wound is very good, but only on a 5-man unit, it's probably not going to be enough to sort of get the job done. In a lot of instances, this makes this unit quite expensive. Now, I obviously understand the logic here. Giving them a character lets them use the stratagems, etc. And so you could have crit 5s, for example, which is not too bad to have, to be honest. But at the same time, like a Typhus could do that while also providing him like a bit of mortal wound output on average. The Lord of Virulence, I would say out of these 2 here, I'd probably be looking to like pick one. But I also feel a bit awkward. I always feel a little awkward giving a 5-man squad of Blight Lords a character. 3-man obviously makes sense of Death Shroud because obviously they hit real hard in melee. They give the character the 6-inch deep strike too. But here, I'd argue in this list, just again because of the nature of having the 2 bricks, if you wanted to keep these 2 units, which you can do, I feel like you need to make a cut elsewhere. So for that, it's going to be probably one of these characters and probably this Demon Prince down. So what you could do is you could drop this Demon Prince down to a Tallyman who's happy to hold your home objective, get a bit more score units, or get another Demon Engine here. That's only 150 points. So for example, if this guy went away, let's just grab the Tallyman real quick. So for par exemple, you could have him swapped out there. So he goes and sits at the side. He's in the naughty corner at the moment. You can pick yourself up another Demon Engine, whether that's going to be like another Hauler there. You've got a nice little anti-tank contingent there. The Predator Annihilator is just generally not a great tank. 3 shots for 135 points is just not good. Like, especially like it has no rerolls. Like, again, if this was like most other anti-tank tanks in the other armies, it'd have 4 rerolls to hit and wound versus vehicles and monsters. It doesn't. It has a weird gimmicky mortal wound thing, which is pretty shit. I would honestly just use some spare points to upgrade this to a Destructor, and then they can then support all this to be able to do more damage. If you're going to do that, obviously you got to make some cuts, which again, the Demon Prince going away into like a Tallyman. You float in 155, I think, or is it 145? So you float in 145 with the Demon Prince here after a Tallyman's in. So 145 can get you, like I said, another Demon Engine, whether that's a Blight Launcher, a Blight Hauler, sorry. But you could also potentially go and, like, if you drop one of these characters as well, so like this character goes away here, that's you now floating 245, so you could potentially, you know, go and get rid of that guy, go and get yourself 2 normal bloat drones. You don't even have to get the launcher ones. You could get 2 HBL drones, because then if I was to do that, I'd keep the Lord of Virulence in, probably get rid of Typhus, because now he's providing pretty good support to these 2 drones here. So that's pretty good, because that would be only floating 5 points there. So that wouldn't be too bad. The alternative being upgrading this to a Destructor and instead going and getting yourself some like Spitter drones and just playing a more aggressive list. You got some Spitter drones, there you go, Spitter drones. So it's a bit more of an aggressive list, but it also, then you float the 45 points extra, use those 45 points to upgrade this guy to like a Destructor, for example, there. And then you can go from there. That doesn't feel too bad. Again, in that instance, I probably would swap these around, I think, to have Typhus for this squad, just to add some melee punch to them on the crit 5s, because again, these auto hit these flamers, they're not, all everyone is going to get much use out of it. So I would probably do some little changes like that. I feel like having the extra drones out of that Demon Prince just straight up just feels a lot better use out of his points. Because like you said, that there's still floating 45. This becomes an actual Predator Destructor there. You're still floating like 30 points there at that point. So you can maybe potentially get an enhancement somewhere. You could even potentially upgrade a unit of these to some Chaos Spawns. You have 2 units of Chaos Spawn. I just think that that's probably going to get you a bit more done in general. I think the Demon Prince is probably the weakest point in this list, just from the perspective of having, like I said, it's a good unit. Gives out 3 command points, is nice. But I do believe that in Champions of Contagion, I don't feel like he's worth it without the Feel No Pain. Because there's a lot of things in the game that can just kill him. Like, as soon as he fails a 4-up, like a Fire Dragon, if he rolls like a 3 on if he rolls a 6 on that Melter dice, like, he's down to 1 wound with no form of Feel No Pain. And he can't heal this attachment either. So, it's just, he's too expensive for his fragility. And also, like, I just feel the Tallyman, and this because you don't have sticky objectives as well, the Tallyman being able to sit on a home frees up a bit more play with these Poxwalkers up front. Otherwise, you're basically guaranteed having to sit in entire unit Poxwalkers on home. And I'd rather have them up the field, being able to engage and sort of play missions and hold primary. So yeah, that's probably my suggestion for on this one. Just drop the Demon Prince, it's easy change there. Probably take out Lord of Virulence. Get yourself a Tallyman, 2 Demon Engines, upgrade this to a Destructor, for example, and then maybe get an enhancement or something, or just play around with those last few points. You could even potentially drop these and upgrade these to another Demon Engine with the 40 points, so you could have, like, again, you could have, like, 3 like that, or, like, 3 Bloat Drones. The spawn are pretty good, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not upset to have spawn lists, but again, if you wanted to just go more heavy on the Demon Engines, don't overlook, like, standard Bloat Drones, for example. So yeah, that's probably where I'm going to go on that one there. Mr. Fenix Toss, because your list is called Elite COC, and I think this kind of keeps it still elite. We've kept your bricks, and didn't want to get rid of them because it's what you want it to be. But instead of having that Demon Prince, we've just got you been able to give the ability to go a bit wider on the list here. So it's really cool. Thank you very much for the submission, though. Then we've got Daniel coming in next. Again, if you're in the chat and you want me to check out your list and you're in the Blight Surgery, feel free to just let me know in the chat and the comments. And how is everyone also doing tonight? Hopefully everyone's having a lovely night. And I will try and prioritize people who are in the chat so that we can obviously talk through their list, for example. I'm just going to quickly just delete a bunch of stuff off here that is completely pointless. Like, don't need them, don't need them. I just need, like, 1 of every unit, really. Don't need them. I've got my White Lords now, just to try and make the frames a bit better, not die as much. Don't need you, don't need... Why is there a Lord Discordant? I've never understood that ever. Why is there a Lord Discordant here? Don't need the Plague Marines, don't need the Plague Marines, don't need the Plague Marines. Don't need the Rhino. Hopefully that makes it a little bit... Yeah, there we go. Now we're not dying every time we move the camera. That's cool. Okay, so next list up, let's have a look what's up next. Daniel, so we've got Virulent Vectorium, so we're going to have... let's clear this up to the side a second here. So let's just go put all this army to the side over here, somewhere like that. Cool. So we're going to have a Demon Prince of Nurgle with the Revolting Regeneration. Makes sense. Looks like we've got the Malignant Plague Caster and the Large Speechfire Brick of Plague and Marines, which we want to grab. So grab that as well. So boop there. Then we've got a Lord of Contagion with a Furnace of Plague, so we need him back over here as well. Lord of Virulence again, so we'll grab him. There he is. Malignant Plague Caster, cool. So that's all the characters. The 10-man Plague and Marines we recovered. We need our Chaos Rhino again. Grab him. Come on, Mr. Rhino. You always got to be down here to support your boys. You guys are riding the Rhino. Then we've got a Unit of Chaos Spawn again. Don't mind that. In Virulent Vectorium, it's very good to have. This is actually looking quite a bit like the sample list, to be honest with you. Okay, so it gets a bit different. So then we've got a 6-man Brick of Death Shroud Terminators. 6-man Brick of Death Shroud Terminators. Followed by a 3-man Brick of Death Shroud Terminators. Not a brick, 3-man unit of Death Shroud Terminators. Then we've got 2 Fetid Bloat Drones with Heavy Blight Launchers. Which we'll have to use these because they don't actually have a proper model for it. And then we've got 2 Mephitic Blight Haulers, looks like. 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2 Mephitic Blight Haulers, and then 2 squads of Poxwalkers. So, pretty close to what we just had. Really not too dissimilar, to be honest. And 2 squads of Poxwalkers. I'll grab these here. So, this list here. I imagine it's going to be probably something like that, depending on matchup. So, how do we feel about this list here? So it is Virulent Vectorium, which automatically makes me, feel a little bit more comfortable. I do like VV. I think it's VV. Obviously supports the Plague Marine Brick extremely well. Now there is no Tallyman here again. So my question would be again, what's going to sit on home? Something has to sit on home. And you have sticky objectives, which is great. Like we have sticky, that is good. But we still need something to screen out home, or your opponent's going to put something at free. This is usually where you would see your Tallyman, for example. So we are going to have to use one of these Poxwalker bricks, Poxwalker units to sort of hold home on the back end, which is again totally fine. So we can use that. Now, what that does mean, however, it does mean that the Demon Prince can only really go to one location, because assuming these Death Shroud and stuff, and again they could start on the board. This 6-man could start on the board, and the 3-man could be in Deep Strike. But if these were to start in Deep Strike, for example, we've obviously just got a unit of Poxwalkers that can be the lone up for the Demon Prince, because these guys are obviously going to be inside this Rhino here. Now, in general, this is the original sort of list I made when the Death Guard Codex came out. The only real difference being that back then when we had the points, you had another one of these buggers back here, and you also had a Tallyman. And that was like pretty much like our real staple list. So it's fundamentally hasn't changed too much. We just lost the drone, and obviously we lost Tallyman, so we have less to play up front, but fundamentally this is the same principle. So the idea being that if you're against an aggressive army, these guys can deploy on the board with the Lord of Virulence, with these Death Shroud Terminators here. These guys kind of wanted to come and smack something wherever they can get into. The Rhino with the Plague Marines is going to stage up. The Demon Prince is going to force bad trades. Now, there isn't, honestly, this kind of archetype is kind of figured out at this point. There's not too much to honestly like debate talking about. What you could potentially like say for this realistically here is, let's have a think. So obviously there's a different build where you can go with 2 3-man squads. That frees you up 160 points. That gets you a Tallyman, then gets you like another Demon Engine. That would also work. But again, if we're wanting to keep the 6-man brick here, it's a fairly figured out attachment, to be honest with you. Is there any information on it? Have we got any desires, anything like that? Is it just this is my list? There we go. I'd love to get some ideas to get a small Blight Lord Terminator unit. Okay, so we can talk about that. But I feel like anything around would sabotage the list as it feels well rounded. If it helps, my 2 friends play Deathwing, Dark Angels, and Iron Hands themed Space Marines. So yeah, this is the thing. This is quite figured out. The 6 Death Shroud can be a bit much, but I understand the use for it here because it's in this detachment specifically. He's using this as like his anchor unit, so this is probably what's going to be sitting on the -1 damage quite a lot of time, and it is an absolute nightmare to kill. So this is sort of like you drop down 6-inch, go kill something unit. This is kind of like taking the brunt force of your opponent's army back hit. If you wanted to fit a small unit of Blight Lord Terminators in here, it probably, like when you say small, I imagine like a 5-man unit. It probably would have to be the only way you could do it is probably to take out the 6-man here, because that's 160 points. Then go and get yourself a unit of Blight Lord Terminators, because Blight Lord Terminators in a 5-man. Is it 170? So you might, let me have a look. Death Shroud are super strong. It would be hard to recommend dropping the Shroud for 5 Blight. I feel like Blight Lords are either a 10 man or a no man. I have seen people do 5 mans before, and they can do pretty well, especially in a sort of melee focus meta. An infantry focus meta. So they're not too bad, but I always feel like if I'm going to commit to the so right now, obviously, this they have direct competition. So if you just look at this list, like 10 Black Lords would have direct competition with a 6 man because they're both wanting to be an anchor unit. They're both wanting to be like this big brick of absolute chunk that wants to take -1 damage, and then they're going to sort of like survive based on that -1 damage. Let's have a look. How much is a 5 and Black Lord Terminators? Great. It's 115 for 3. Do not care about 3 man. I want to see a 5 man. So 5 man is 185 points. Ugh. So you would have to, theoretically in this scenario, if you wanted to get them in without dropping too much, you would have to not only drop the 3 man here, you'd also have to drop Furnace of Plagues enhancement off the Lord of Contagion to then go and get yourself 5 Blight Lord Terminators. But again, as I said before, 5... Now, obviously in this detachment, you have 1 CP reroll all hits and wounds and shooting, which makes these guys like less reliant on a character. But I also feel like in that instance, you are basically just making this squad here not hit as hard. Because the problem is, because this squad's got a lot of runs, not a lot of contagion, it does a lot less output in melee damage. This squad here will hit real hard, that's fine. This squad now starts to hit a little bit less, quite a bit less actually, without Lance. So the question is, in the game of Virulent Vectorium, which is you're trying to have that sort of like that big go turn and go into your opponent with obviously the big 6 man engaging, I feel like these guys then actually kind of cause a problem. Because these guys are now directly fighting this Plague Ring unit for the reroll stratagem. Now, you could obviously drop him into there, and now they've got rerolls to hit on 1 with whatever he marks, plus rerolls to wound. But often then, now he's in direct contention with these guys, because sometimes the target that this wants to shoot is not the targets these want to shoot, and I would much rather use his buff on these bloat drones at the back, which would feel a lot better. So, let's have a look. How about Rota Shambles? Jesus Christ. I'm going to run Shamble Rot soon. I don't know if I'm not sure I'm looking forward to it or not. It's going to be an interesting one. We'll have to see. So, like, for me, like, again, this is why this list is kind of figured out at the moment. Like, this list is just a solid list. I think you would be hard-pressed to try and fit a Terminator unit in, really. Like, the only realistically thing I could possibly suggest is if you wanted to get a Terminator unit, maybe you're in a more melee-focused meta, you could drop a Hauler, and, like, you could bring, like, what, a 3-man unit for, like, actions and stuff, just deep striking in, doing some actions. But you would also have to drop the Furnace of Plagues down to the Demon Weapon of Nurgle, because it's 115 here, so you need the extra 15 points. That is workable. Like, if you really wanted to get unit Blight Lords in, that's probably what I'd go with. I'd probably drop a single haul, but again, I would want to make sure you are not in... And I'd want to make sure you're in the infantry meta, because outside of that, it's really hard to recommend. But if you wanted to actually, like, bring, like, a big unit of Blight Lords, that's the point where you start to have, like, contention between... I feel like a lot of VV builds right now are either going with the... let's grab all these. You either go with the Rhino, or you go with a 10-man brick of uncharactered Blight Lord Terminators, which is actually cheaper than these guys overall. Because they also don't need a character, because then again, because remember, if this unit of Plague Rings isn't here, then you're free to use 1 CP roll, hit some runes with this. So, like, this is something you could do if you wanted to try out, like, just Terminators in VV. Like, and then obviously you get to keep this guy as well and even get some extra points. Like, this is possible. So, I'd say if you wanted to try out the Blight Lord Terminators, I would do this first, potentially. Like this would probably be the best way to get Blight Lord Terminators working in VV, in my opinion. And this also gives you a different kind of skew list, because now you got 3 big you got 2 Terminator units, 2 are massive, they can both -1 damage. So you can see it's a lot of toughness 7 for invulnerable here. So that kind of makes this list a bit more of a skew list with the Terminator profiles, but I feel like that's realistically the only way you get Blight Lords to work in VV here. Again, outside of removing this guy and taking the enhancement down and putting a 3-man in there. But, like, as it is, like, this list you got in front of you, you could potentially drop 3-man here, pick up 3 Blight Lord Terminators as well, and then what? Like, you get 115 points, you're floating... So you could... Okay, so that's what you could do. You could go... If you really wanted to, really wanted to, You could drop those guys, get this 3-man squad in here, drop the Furnace of Plagues, a Demon Weapon of Nurgle, and then pick yourself up a Taliman to sit on your home objective. That would work. That would theoretically work. Obviously, you've got a lot of punchy power here, but it gets everything that you want in the list without cutting too much, and it also gets you a Taliman to hold home objective. Do I recommend it over the list you've currently got, though? Not sure about that one. I think the list you've got just here, it's called the Figured Out list for a reason. It's pretty damn strong, and unless you start going into sort of, if you actually start going into the 3-man squads, I think, you know, it's, this is pretty much like the list for the 6-man and the 3-man Death Shroud. But thank you for the submission. Hopefully give you some ideas. There are some ways you could take it to try and get those Blight Lords in. Brian Sherrill, thank you very much for the $5 super chat, mate. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I have a list from 921. Yep, no worries. Cool. I will go back and find it now. 21st of September, because you're American and you write your months before your days because you are silly. And not prim and proper like us British. Let's go find it. So let's go for yours, Brian. So 9th, the 21st. So the 21st of September. 23rd. Keep going. 22nd. 21st. Where are you at? 21st. 21st. 20. There's a lot of 22nd apparently. A lot of people posting on the 22nd. There you are. BT53 Brian. Got you, buddy. Okay, let's have a look at this one then. So, we got... So, I'll build what you've got here, and then I'll just read that super chat again just to make the changes, just because, unfortunately, to have TTS up, I have to use an entire monitor for TTS. So, I can't actually... When I'm doing the building list bit, I can't actually see my stream at all. So, I'll pull up a second. So, we've got a lot of contagion. We've got a lot of Poxes who... does have a model now. Woo! Got a model finally on this TTS. Taliman. See, now that's all your characters out. I've been trying these builds a bit recently. I quite like these like low character count armies, but it's a bit strange to play because obviously our characters are very good, but there is also an argument to be made for them because I think you can actually surprise a lot of people with like how good the rest of our units are even without massive character support. We've got 2 units of Chaos Spawn, a 1-2. 2 3-man Death Shroud Terminator squads. You guys come over here. 1-2. Then we've also got a Flesh Mower drone. Hell yeah, I like a little bit of Flesh Mowing action. Flesh Mower. 2 Plague Spitter drones. You two over here, please. Thank you very much, Lee. Then we've got a 1-2 Chwa HBL drones. Also seeing this a lot recently at the moment. The return of the sort of like the drone spam, because the drone's just really good. Having 6 of them is better. And then triple haul. This is the 960 point build where you get 9 engines for less than half your list. It's really good. And then we got 2 squads of Poxwalkers. Sorry, 3 squads of Poxwalkers. Again, look how much stuff you can actually get. I don't know why I copied that. I'll just drag them over. Look how much stuff you can actually get when you don't go super heavy on the characters. Kind of crazy. So let's have a look then at this listy poos. So let me arrange it a bit nicer. Hello, can I grab these please? Thank you. Grab these. Oh, okay. No, okay, that's gone wrong. You guys grab, rotate, copy, paste. There we go. I'll do it. So we got 1, 2, 3 squads of our Poxwalker boys. We've got 1, 2, 3 of our Hawley boys. We've got 1 Spitter drone, 2 Spitter drone, 1 Flesh Mowy drone. Bam, bam, bam. 1, 2, 3 Blight Launcher drones. Then we've got a lot of Contagion. He's probably going to be leading one of these squads here. You imagine the other squad is just going to go leaderless. Tallyman's probably going to be set on home objective. This guy's just going to be giving some lone up love to these guys here. And then we've still got 2 units of Chaos Spawn to sort of play out in midfield, do some early trading. And obviously they're going to be supported by bloat drones this time. So there we go. Okay. So let's have a talk about this one because it's a bit of a weird one, a bit different, and it makes me happy to see. So, okay, Mr. Brown. So let's have a look at your actual comment then. So you've actually subbing out a Foul Blight spawn for Lord of Poxies as the first expansion holder. Okay. So you've subbed out the Foul Blight spawn for Lord of Poxies. So the Lord of Poxies is basically going to sit on your actual objective. He's going to have the Lone Up 18, which is going to protect you from quite a bit of shooting, especially indirect shooting as well. Is another 5 Plague Marines, apologies? There's a 2 5-mans. Next to him there. They're chillins. Having a chilling time. So he's going to be leading these 5 here. They're going to be sat on objective, basically with the 18-inch lawn up, holding the natural expansion objective. Now, he's saying that basically this originally was a foul blight spawn for the fight first, but I actually agree here that even with fight first, the squad is not really scary enough to deter a lot of things. Instead, what is probably a lot more deterrent is the fact that this squad could like -1 damage, and then if this guy lives, he's going to have 6 Womper Domper attacks, and then if the Sergeant lives, like those 2 models, even if there's 2 live between them, so even if these guys die on the charge, these 2 models here have 8 attacks at 832, which is a lot and enough to punk like 5 intercessors on average, especially when one of them is weapon skill 2 and the other one's weapon skill 3. That is enough to punk like a 5-man assault intercessor squad and protect your natural objective. So it makes actually charge that unit quite scary. It means that if you do want to make sure you kill them off the point, you're probably going to have to send in something a bit more expensive to make sure that Lord dies. And obviously then at that point, you can consider -1 damage, etc. Things like that. So I actually quite like that. It's quite a cool little techie piece. Normally we would say a walking Plague Marine is dead Plague Marine, but again, because this is initially set up from the intro to be a unit that's going to sit in your natural expansion objective, you don't really need that Rhino as much because its entire goal is to move towards that objective. So you can skirt the back of your board, keep that lone up as well, that 18, so you're just not going to get shot and move into position. Now there are some boards where it's a bit more awkward to reach those positions, so just be aware in your deployment that you might need a pretty good advance turn 1 to get into there. But at the same time, like again, you are saving 85 points on a Rhino. Now, that being said though, the rest of the list is very, very cool. Now we have got the 2 spawn here, 2 spawn. So there is an argument here to be said that because you've actually got so much like such aggressive play, the potential with triple bloat drone, triple hauler, and double spawn, there is an argument to be made that you could potentially drop like a spawn unit here, or you know maybe just try and find a way to get a leader for the squad. So you could like drop a launcher drone to get a double Lord of Contagion like that, just to make sure both of these squads are super scary, because you've still got good long range shooting. You've still got 2, 3, 2 of these guys here, so that is an argument that could potentially be made. I don't know if we have any enhancements. We do have Furnace of Plagues, so we could, instead of dropping a very spicy bloat drone blight launcher, we instead keep the blight launcher drone here. We can drop one of our normal ones, like maybe the hauler, drop the enhancement and pick up a lot of contagion, just to make sure you've got 2 really hard hitting squads here. I think I'd probably like that a bit better. The engines family is really good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like outside of like, I feel like a 3-man Death Shroud squad isn't really gonna like kill what you want it to kill. It doesn't threaten as much as you want it to threaten. And for those, the role of like a 3-man unled Death Shroud squad is to go and kill like, you know, someone that's just holding a primary, but you've actually got quite a lot of options in here to do that anyway. You've got like, again, you've got all these drones here, you've got these units of spawn here. So I feel like you could probably get away with having a second Lord of Contagion just to add some extra oomph in there. And if you didn't want to lose Furnace of Plagues, for example, here, you could keep Furnace of Plagues and then just straight swap for like a Typhus, for example. I think Typhus, or again, even in an LOV here, because you've got quite a lot that could benefit from it. With these 3 here being able to benefit from it, these technically can get benefit from it because then they hit on 2s rolling 1s against target that you want to. So that's another option. But as we said, the idea of this is to sort of be cheap on characters. I understand like the exemption of them if they're just going to go bully something like, you know, anything that's holding a primary without trying to get crack something too hard. This is also perfectly fine because 9 demon engines is a lot of a stat check to sort of deal with for an opponent. So I understand that angle. So for me personally, Brian, that's really the only thing I would probably consider swapping out. You could obviously actually go Chaos Spawn out, drop Furnace of Plagues, get in Typhus. That would also be a play if you wanted to make sure you kept your sort of demon engine focus. That would also be a play because, as we said before, you've got so much forward pressure with these 3 drones here. And obviously these halls can play up front as well. And you've got 3 squads of Poxwalkers as well. Let's not forget that. Like, you might not need that extra like unit of spawn that sort of has that reach for contagion range, because naturally these 3 drones are all going to want to open your opponent's grill. These can only get close anyway. You've got 2 units of Poxwalkers that can sort of like play around midboard. Like all 3 technically could play around midboard. One could even be quite aggressive on its infiltration. So that would then just set up a much scarier sort of like killing unit from these guys here. Yes, you do lose Furnace of Plagues in this scenario here. I'm not sure if this list was bang on 2k. If you were floating 5 points, you could actually still pick up Demon Weapon of Nurgle on here. I'm not sure that you'd have to tell me the points. I'm not sure I'm pretty good. I know what all the points here are, but I'm not going to mental math that out myself just now. So I think they're probably the two variants of the list I'd go for if I wanted to change it, just to make these Death Shroud squads a bit scarier. And I actually think I might prefer it with the spawn dropped rather than the engine drop. I think this has nicer play into the skew of the list with all the nice 900 point for 9 demon engine kind of thing is going on. So I feel like the spawn are more redundant because of all this aggressive demon engine play, and I would much rather have both my Death Shroud squads be pretty damn scary. Obviously, Typhus is not as good as Lord of Contagion, but he still does bring 6 flat 3 damage attacks and a bunch of mortal wounds as well. And he gives him a bit of a defensive buff with -1 to be hit in close combat. So I think this is probably what I'd go for there, Brian. But it's a really cool list. Like I'm pretty tempted to try this here myself. Like I really do like it. My head initially is thinking, like, I would probably, like, for myself, if I was to take this list myself, I like this squad, but I would be tempted to take it out, replace it with, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? This bad boy. Obviously, I'd have to do some other points messing around, and 2 of these bad boys, because I just really want to run Plague Bus again. I miss it so much. It's so much fun. So I would try and do something like that. Obviously, I'd have to, like, figure out the points there. But yeah, those are the Chop Chain Midfield list. Very, very cool list. I'd love to see a bit of innovation on VV. VV's been figured out for quite some time. So to see someone just going, what if not character and no Demon Prince? And I just went really wide with it. And I think you'd be surprised how much effect you'd get out of these vehicles with them being so cheap. Spoiler alert, I've got a video coming out on, so let me try and get it straight. Stream today. Tomorrow, I need to ask you guys, what video would you rather have come out first? I have a how to play Death Guard like Iron Hands, which is about how to play like this, like loads of demon engines, loads of tanks, and just sort of like play that more vehicle heavy play style. So like we had the how to play like World Eaters. I've got one for Iron Hands, so how to play like Iron Hands, teaching us to play tank lists. Or would you rather have the second sample list video come out first? So pick one of them, and you're going to have LVO, Infection, Critical also coming out probably tomorrow on that one. Obviously stream on Tuesday, and that next video will probably come out Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll give you that choice to the chat, so you guys can decide the order that comes out. Do you want the next sample list video, or do you want a how to play Death Guard like Iron Hands with a sort of focus on how to play vehicle heavy Death Guard? Tank list. Sample list are dangerous. They're dangerous, are they? Is it dangerous to get you to go buy stuff? Is that why? Okay, you guys go sit over there for a bit. I actually like that list. Look how wide that list is. That is hefty. That's a hefty list. That's real tempted to take to an RTT very soon. Oh, we're flipping tanks over. Yeah, there's still a bit of time till Christmas. Mabodo. Right, Mabodo. Let me have a look. I did see your name before, actually, Mabodo. Let me have a quick gander, see if I can find you. Mabodo. Let's have a look. Tofu, Fenix Toast, Daniel. We've done those guys. Kudis, No Hio. There you are, Mabodo. Okay. I'm moving into my first 2K army list. Hey, after doing 1K for the last 6 months. Welcome to 2K, mate. Hope you had fun at 1K, though. Hope you've been enjoying yourself. Going with a rule of coolest. Cool. Nothing wrong with that at all. And bringing all the toys. Please take a look and give me your thoughts. I want to have some fun, but I also don't want to get curb stomped. Also would like advice on the detachments you think this will work with. I've only played VV and pre-codex detachments so far. Wouldn't mind trying some new ones. Okay, so the list is called Sick and Morty. So we need the Mothman of Barbarous. Let's go get the Mothman of Barbarous. There he is. I'm just going to delete this. There's a tiny cube in the middle of Mortarion that makes him have this fog. And it just kills your frame rate. There we go. I'm buying a new PC soon. This one is struggling way too much. No, I do not want internet browser. Please go away. Right. So we got the Stinky Mothman. Then we got the 1x God Squad. Clangy Bottle Boy. Fartcaster. 10 Plague Marines. Big Shooty Bang Bang Rhino. I love these names. So I'm going to use my best skills of deduction here to assume that this means this squad here. We get a lot of boxes. So this is the Bang Bang Shooty Boy squad. We also need a Playcaster, please. There we go. So there we are. So this is the Bang Bang Shooty Boy squad. So we have a 10-man squad of Plague Marines here. Whap bap bing. There we go. Let me know, guys, do you like the TTS being involved in the stream, or is it not really like working out? If it's not working out, I'm not going to be offended. It's just something we wanted to try out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We're just trying it out. Trying new things, always trying to make the channel a bit better, a bit more interesting. Just also, it's a bit more visually engaging for you people who are watching as well. But again, if you sat there and you're thinking, nah, this isn't it, Aiden, just feel free. I'm not going to get offended, like, at all. Like, just let me know. So then we got Plague Bus. Yes. So the Plague Bus. Bonk. So we need 2 more Playcasters. 1 here. And 2 more 5-mans. Okay. So we got this, and then we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But no. Control C, Control V, V. Okay, 2 more 5-mans. So we only got the 1 Rhino. We got another Rhino. Oh, we got the shoot bang right. Okay, so we got that there, that there. So we're gonna have 1 Rhino, 2 Rhino. Here, here, and then another 5-man, another 5-man. So they're 5-mans. So we got 2 5-mans and a Plague Bus. Then we got a 10-man shoot bang and a Plague Bus. Death from Above squad. So we're gonna have 2 of these squads. It's 2 of the 3-mans with a lot of contagions. Spicy. No, sorry, my ADHD is like triggering there. Gotta make sure I've got 1 of every model. Yes, nice. A lot of contagion. So we got 2 of these bad boys. So 2 of these squads here. So whap, bang, boom. And a lot of contagion leading them. So whap, bang, boom. There you go. 1, 2. So 2 squads of Death Shroud Terminators, both with a lot of contagion. Then we've also got 1 counting the days till someone lets me out of the deployment zone. That's a Tallyman, 100%. This is legit. I'm not making these names up, by the way. This is what is on the list. 1 spread the contagion chaos unit. It's 80 points. It's only 1 unit that's going to be. It's going to be Chaos Spawn. I'm getting pretty good at translating this list. And then 2 token zombie squads. So there we go. 2 token zombie squads. That one was easy to figure out. Grab it, please. Why am I so incapable of TTS controls? Okay, so what? Here. There we go. Okay. There we are. Okay, so let me get back to Streamlabs. There we go. TTS is pretty much okay. So people seem to be liking TTS. So I quite like that. That's nice to know. So here we have now. Obviously, the list states it doesn't want to be like it's not trying to be like the best list possible. It's just trying to have fun with his lists. Nothing wrong with that. So there are a couple of ways we could go with this one here. I think VV is obviously just going to be the sort of like the basic one to go with. VV is just generically just good for this kind of play style, this kind of list. We have obviously -1 damage. Mortarion absolutely loves it. It makes him just a lot better. The 4 rolls to hit and wound make these 5-mans be able to trade up real good. Because again, they just hop out, get 4 rolls to hit and wound, real spicy. And obviously the 10-man makes it absolutely delete everything. So, like, detachment-wise, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say it is probably going to VV is probably going to be best bet. You could make an argument to try out champions. The difference here being that if you were to go with champions, when you play this unit here, you more likely do this and you actually attach them to the 5-mans because that gives you the ability to use the stratagems on the squads here. Whereas in VV, there's no real reason to attach them, so you would keep them separate and run a more traditional Plague Bus inside there. It would make these units Death Shroud absolutely much more baller and killer, but it does make Mortarion a little bit weaker. He's still really good, but without the -1 damage and the ability to heal, he does become a little bit more fragile there. So it just again, a food for thought, and it also makes this squad back here a little bit weaker, not because it makes them weaker, it's just that their 4 rolls to hit and wound stratagem goes to a 2 command point cost rather than a 1 command point cost, and it has a weird caveat where the unit has to have took a mortal wound already. Like, but outside of that, if I was to say you was to show up with this for like your average game night, honestly, like, if you're just playing more of casual games, more fun games with like mates or like at a local club, like this list could actually do pretty well. Like, it's got some really hard hitting units. The Plague Marines here real damn hard. These 2 units of Death Shroud here are absolute beat sticks. Mortarion is quite a high skill cap model, but using him correctly, the cool thing here is that you obviously have the tricks with the rhinos, where if someone comes nearby, you can reactive move near a rhino and re-embark into it. So you can do a lot of nonsense with that. Even just like 5 5 basic Plague Marines onto the middle objective. Opponent comes near, you just reactive move back towards the middle wall, jump on the Rhino that's on the other side of the wall. It's just really annoying to make your opponent keep having to force things out and just keep losing units for free. I do like the inclusion of the Chaos Spawn here. We always need a unit to sort of launch and set up our Death Shroud Terminators, which is great. Plague Bust could actually play potentially more in reserves in this list. I wouldn't be like against that. You could potentially put this unit in reserves here. Yes, the 2 command points, -1 damage stratagem. It just makes Mortarion a lot harder to kill, and these Death Shroud a bit more pain in the ass as well. But on Mortarion, it's pretty big for melee matchups, because a lot of melee damage in the game is damage 2. So being able to half a lot of that is pretty big for Mortarion. So it's pretty damn important. So I think there is an argument potentially that like obviously your biggest problem you're gonna have is long range firepower here. There's no real long range shooting units. Which could obviously be an issue potentially, but it all depends how you play it. This list itself is basically, first turn you're not really looking to pick any fights. You're just kind of looking to stand into the mid board. Once you're in the mid board, once you're inside the mid board, then you basically just want this massive go turn where basically the spawn are going to go out, enable the drops for these Death Shroud Terminators, and then, for example, the Plague Marines come out, Mortarion comes out. And this one could also play from Rapid Ingress, so if you're going second, your opponent stages up, you stage up first turn. At the end of your opponent's second movement phase, you Rapid Ingress this second Rhino in somewhere. That Rhino can then obviously, you know, drop out some Plague Marines to attack a point. It can then drive off, so like the Rhino could be like here, drives off 12 to flame something, also spreads Contagion. Now the Death Shroud can drop in around this, while on the other side of the board, the spawn go off and sort of go around here and go and attack something. And then also enable the other squad of Death Shroud to come out. So, like, in terms to answer your question, is it the most competitive? No, because it doesn't have long-range firepower, and there are certain matchups where you just need that. Now, that being said, though, like, is it viable? Yeah, I think, like, your average game, this is going to be perfectly fine. Like, Mortarion is a problem on his own for people to try and deal with. This Plague Marine squad will kill most things it gets to look at. These Death Shroud squads are going to hit real hard as well. You've got a nice little bit of extra CP here. You've got some screen units. You've got a nice trading unit here. There is an argument to be said, like, you could drop these Plague Marines here to try and get yourself like a 100-point Demon Engine somewhere. But again, that becomes a bit more tricky because you've got the Demon Enhancement, so Demon Weapon of Nurgle, I'm guessing that is. So what I would say is this squad here, you don't need the Demon Weapon of Nurgle enhancement because they already crit on 5s in the God Squad. So you don't need that enhancement. So instead, take the enhancement for the crit 5s on like this Lord of Contagion here. One of these guys, just to get them that extra bit of damage. So what I would probably do is, because I've ran the Plague Marine build before. It's actually pretty damn scary. Obviously, when I ran it, it was another. I had another Rhino, I think, with 2 more 5-mans in it instead of the Mortarion. Just kind of went really wide with it. But I also then had, oh no, I had 2 more 5-mans, but I only had I had another 5-man, 1 more 5. I had 25 Marines. And I just first turn this unit get out, and then I'd get the second unit in. But I'd have Mortarion. Mortarion for me turned into Demon Engines. But I obviously understand if you want to play with Mortarion, there's nothing wrong with that. So like the argument here is if you wanted to just make it a bit more rounded, a bit more like rounded as a list, you could potentially go like, what we do here? We go, you want to keep Mortarion here, want to keep the Plague Bust because it's just fun. Like you could potentially drop those 5 out, potentially like drop a lot of Contagion as well. Have this as more like just to go and bully weaker unit squad, because you've still got one big scary squad here. So that's to go and bully some weaker squads realistically now. And then with these points here, it's 120 plus 195. Like you just go and pick yourself up like 2 of these, just so you have a bit of like ranged anti-tank, popping transports, things like that. Or just 2 normal block drones, just anything that's got a bit of speed, a bit of shooting as well to sort of keep you up there. Like that isn't too bad. I don't mind that as much, too much. Like, yeah, I didn't mind your original list. You just got to understand when you're playing that original list, you're not looking to engage in any shootouts at all because you don't have any guns. You could also make an argument to drop these guys here as 120 plus 95, so that's 215. You drop Demon Weapon of Nurgle, that's 225. You could then potentially drop the spawn down. It's like another unit of Poxwalkers, but I feel like the spawn are pretty important for spreading Contagion. But you could potentially do it. You could drop them, get yourself another, drop the Demon Weapon of Nurgle enhancement, and then get yourself potentially like another drone or get 2 HBL drones for the long range shooting. But again, not a fan of HBL drones unless they have like some form of support. I know some people like to run them bare bones, but they really do become casino cannons. Much prefer these here. Just because, again, they hit on 2s versus targets they want to. So, like, that's an option you could go with this build here. That is a double bus of Plague Marines. Yes, so we got one big bus of 10-man Plague Marines with the Biology Putrefier and the Caster. So that is the Super Death Mega Squad of Death. And then this is a smaller one with a 5-man unattached squad, which can obviously hop out, flip primary, do actions, things like that. They can obviously still get 1 CP roll, all hits and wounds, and they're still going to have double plasma gun, spitter, and a blight launcher, and 6 power fist attacks. But then we've also got the 2 plague casters in the plague bus. So I feel like this would be like a bit more of a more well-rounded version, just to give you that extra bit of like shooting firepower, and also a bit more tradey units. Like, these are a little hard to kill in these Plague Marines. You still keep the utility of the Plague Marines in the Rhino, but it also just gives you a bit more of an option to sort of like play more aggressively with these engines a bit. So this is probably like the change I would make here. But if you really wanted to, like the original list, which is these out, and then these back in, like, there's nothing honestly like too wrong with this list. I don't hate it. I hate very little things, to be honest. With Death Guard, it's all incredibly fun. Like, and again, you got to remember the context of your list request series. You're not after something mega competitive, but you're after something that's just not going to auto lose. I don't think this even auto loses. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, these very strong units. This is an incredibly damaging unit. Mortarion himself just is a game for your opponent. They've got to try and kill him. If they don't, it can be an absolute nightmare. And you got a nice bit of scoring as well. You still got 2 squads of Potswalkers, unit of spawn, 2 5-mans here, disposable stuff, Tallyman to do actions. Obviously, Malignant Plaguecasts can hop out and do actions, and, well, Rhinos, after they've done the job, become action monkeys. Or, you know, go and just ram into people and be annoying monkeys. So, yeah, either of those 2 variants there, mate. But honestly, for the request you gave, which is, like you said, it's your first 2K list, you're going to rule a cool, bring in all the toys, trying to just have fun with it without getting curb stomped. I think either your original list or this, the one with the 2 Blight Haulers, mate. And I think you should have, again, provided you're not someone's not bullshitting you and saying, oh yeah, we're just here for a fun game. Because I've seen this, people go to 2K and they go to like a local store and they're like, I'm just having a fun game to try and start learning at 2K. And then there were guys like, oh yeah, we can do that. And he whips out like a tournament Eldar list and it's like, you dick. I used to work at Games Workshop and I saw this happen so many times. We had an Eldar player, surprisingly. Oh yeah, 100% run your Marty then if you've just got him painted. I used to work at Games Workshop and we had an Eldar player that came to the store, and he was the epitome of what we'd call sort of like big fish, small pond. So he was beating everyone, but everyone else was just casual, playing for fun, having just a fun time playing campaigns, you know, narrative stuff. Games Workshop stuff, you know, it's nothing too competitive. And he had like all his Eldar, just like Wraith Knight spam, and he was saying like it's so broken, nothing can beat it, and he would basically shit talk all the time. And I was an employee, and I obviously tried to keep the balance, but after a while I kind of snapped. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll play you a game. I was like, on this night when it's the game night, I'll play you a game instead. I'll show you what actually is broken. And then, this is back when I played Chaos Demons in 7th edition. Death Guard weren't an army back then. They were just green Chaos Space Marines. And he deployed all his stuff. And I deployed my army. And I got first turn. And I was like, cool, this Screamer Star, I'm going to give invisibility. So now it has a 2-up invulnerable, rerolling 1s. It can only be hit on hit rolls of 6s. And then I'm also going to fly around and just do a bunch of destroyer damage weaponry. Destroyer damage back in the game was basically you roll a dice. On anything but a 1, you just lost wounds automatically and guys died. On a 6, it literally said, remove the model from play. From the biggest Titan to the smallest thing, I roll a single 6, you just get removed from play, Sonny Jim. So his big-ass Wraith Knight got double 6 straight away and got removed from the game turn 1. I was like, cool, have fun. Like, it was quite a humbling experience. I didn't play it normally, I just knew it existed and knew how to play it. And it was quite funny to like just watch someone who was like beating up like people who were just playing for fun get absolutely rinsed. 7th edition was an absolute mess. Anyone ever tells you anything good about 7th edition, it was a goddamn lie. There was some fluffy stuff, but my god, it was broken as all hell. Right, I got time for one extra list in here today. I'm only going to do an hour today because we've got read commitments. So anyone in the chat right now who's got a list in there, and we'll have a look at theirs. If no one replies in the next few minutes, I'll pick a list at random, and then we'll just go from there. I'll try and get another one in these this week, because obviously we've missed a few weeks due to London and illness. So I'll try and get another one in. Obviously, just a bit of annoyance when it comes to like work and like other commitments outside, and it's just time is always the worst enemy, really. Mads, cool, Mads, Mr. Mads, Mads Honey Monster. So we'll go with Mads, and then Phil, we'll do yours first on the next one. So Honey Monster. Right, there you go. Honey Monster. Let's have a look. Let's find your list. Honey Monster. Honey Monster. Honey. How long ago was it posted, Mr. Honey Monster, Mr. Mads? Just to help me on scrolling a little bit here, mate. Tentacles, Syphilis, Quaid, Alastor, Brian, Fenix Tush. Honey, found it. Hammer, cool. Right, Eldan. So Phil, we'll get yours next time. So I'll just put it. I'm just going to mark that in for me. So Eldan, there you go. So that's for the next one. So I'll put that in there. Okay, so we're playing Mortarian's Hammer here with Mr. Honey Monster, which me typing apparently has made it disappear. Let me find it again. But just to put Brian, I believe you were. You are. There we are. Honey Monster. Don't come near me. The idea is to keep everything away from me as long as possible while I shoot the opponent to pieces and do secondaries. I like it. That's pretty straightforward. So first up, we're going for a Foul Blight Spawn. Let's grab this little bugger here. There we go. One Foul Blight Spawn. But not just one Foul Blight Spawn. Not just two Foul Blight Spawn. Trois Foul Blight Spawn. Un, deux, trois. Something tells me you really hate advanced and charge armies and things like that. Then we've got a Lord of Virulence. Whoop, there we go. With Tendril Submissions. And then that's that. Then it's all into other data sheets. So we need 2 squad of the Chaos Spawn. 1, 2 squads of Chaos Spawn. Then we got 1 Flesh Mower Drone, 2 Flesh Mower Drone, 3 Flesh Mower Drones. Man like the Flesh Mowers. I can't argue with that. 1, 2, 3. 3 Flesh Mower Drones. Let's put them in a nice line here. 3 Flesh Mower Drones. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 HBL drones. Let's go with launch drones. Launch drones. There you go. So we've got 3 launch drones. And then we've got un, deux, trois Plague Burst Crawlers. The unsung heroes. I miss them so much. And then we've got 3 squads of Pox Walkers. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So here we have this list here. Okay, so this one is a bit wild, a bit left field here, a little bit crazy. Is this? I feel like this is missing something. I feel like is this lower points? This feels like it's missing something. Am I missing something? Is this 2K? 100, 300 plus 360, 660, 760, 840, 920, 920 plus. No, this is no way. This is 2K. Is this? Oh, I suppose these are like 600, aren't they? Is this actually 2K? Please don't break my heart. Don't go breaking my heart. Right, here we go. Got my list up here. It could actually be, because the HBL drones as well. Okay, so I get the idea here. 2K straight, good lord. How far we have fallen with these Plague Burst Crawlers. So the idea, obviously, being that the Foul Blight spawns are here to stop any advancing, shooting, advancing, and charging here. Now, we've got 3 of them here. I'm not sure if you need 3. I think most maps tend to have like 1 or 2 angles where your opponent's going to get to your backline. You'd probably just get away with 2 of them. Now, the good thing is these guys do also back up as action fellas, which I do not mind too much. But I think you could get away with 2 of them. So let's just imagine we're floating 75 points already. Then we've got We've got LOV with 10 rule submissions. Now, 10 rule submissions is a weird one. I don't actually like 10 rule submissions. I think it's way too expensive for what it does. But at the same time, the load up is pretty good. But I would rather him just like sort of slamming things and shooting home. But I can understand him being in here. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, the PVCs are gonna have long range shooting, firepower. So like this is a lot of shooting. Like, this will shoot a lot of things there. It's pretty good. 3 flesh mode drones are going to be able to sort of press up into our opponent and push them. And the chaos spawn can obviously attack our opponent's primary here. Now, I don't know if we need the 3rd Poxhawk as well. But the problem is obviously we need something to hold home. And then these do give screens obviously. So these are pretty decent screens. So, but what I would argue is because PVCs, like one of them could always just sit its ass on home and just fire over indirect all game. So you could potentially drop one of these as well. So that would be 65 plus 75 points there. It's going to give us 140 points. Now at that point, I'm tempted to maybe drop one of these as well. That takes us to 220 points. And at that point, like, do we just go hammer style? Do we just go like 2 of these bad boys like over here? Like, do we just go 2 of these and just go slam those buggers in? Like, it kind of like just kind of goes into like sort of, you know, being a bit stronger. You could upgrade, so you could put some mowers into flamers, nothing wrong with that. Again, if you wanted, because it would give you an Overwatch threat as well, which if you were like really not wanting people to come near you, having a bit of Overwatch threat that could like watch your flank. So yeah, I actually could argue that. I reckon you could probably like swap out one of those for a spitter drone for that. That's not too bad. Now, that ain't too bad. There is also an argument to take these out here, because you are floating some points currently here. You take these 2 out, and now, hear me out. I know it's a bit weird, but hear me out. You could technically bring a Plague Bus, because Plague Bus in this is a Plague Bus that can punish the mid-board really well, because you can move through a wall, give it potentially advance and shoot, and then shoot something with 2d6 plus 6 shots at strength 6 AP 3 D3 damage. And you can also get out the Rhino, shoot with a Rhino, tag it, and get full roasted wound now. It's pretty brutal for punishing people because it just can react pretty well, can drive to either side of the board, and it flames like way harder than one of these spitter drones here. It's obviously a lot more expensive. It's like 205 points compared to that 105. But that is potentially something you could do as like a flamer deterrent if you really don't want people to come near you. You're just like, hey, I've got this bus. And again, it can get aggressive because you can obviously stage it in the middle L. And then on a turn where your opponent like doesn't, you know, they're staging in their L, you can actually on UKTC drive from your L to their L, drop out the guys inside a little bit of terrain and flame all the guys that are inside there, sort of like middle L as well. So I think there is that option. But again, if you're playing the whole sort of like stay the hell away from me, I think you could also potentially just make an argument for, because like this right now is what, 80 points plus 65 points, 145 points plus him 75 points. You can make an argument for trying to get yourself like a bit more of a scary anti-melee brick with the fight first. Like you could have a foul blight spawn. You could maybe bring like a 5-man marine squad with a lot of poxes as well. It's a very expensive unit. Like it's the one thing that stops me liking this unit. I feel like the foul blight spawn should not be 75 points. Not in a million years. I think he's super overcosted for that. But like you could potentially, I mean, you could even potentially get rid of him, and then you could go like a 10-man. So you can try and get like a 10-man here. So I have to obviously double check the points on this. But you could potentially get like a 10-man squad of fight first, no advanced enemy marines, staging up in the middle L with a lot of pox as well. So he's got a bit of L. He's got a bit of indirect thingy from thingy. Okay, that wouldn't be too bad, and that obviously gives you quite a nasty bit of you know, potential to like heroic intervention to fight firsts, which is quite nice. And it would still kind of keep people away from you. Obviously, you've now only got one foul blight spawn though to sort of keep one point of the board safe. And it's obviously quite an expensive unit. It doesn't have a Rhino as well. So I think if your entire goal is just to keep people away with the sort of advancing charge, 2 lone foul blight spawns can do the job. I just feel like what we want here is just a bit more punishment for people coming up close. And also, I feel like I know it sounds weird, but I feel like a great way to make people not come close against this is you are playing Hammer. And Hammer does stupid things with Death Shroud because you can just at any point pick a unit and just have it in contagion range. So even without a character, if you don't want people to come close, like a single like these, like, I mean, again, what you get 80 points there plus 75 points there. It's 155, 5 points just off getting that squad in, which is a little bit annoying. That's actually incredibly annoying. Goddamn. Because if you can constantly at any point be threatening people to drop in a 6-inch deep strike wherever you want, that means they've got to keep stuff screened out a lot more. They've got to keep more units back. It kind of deters them coming forward anyway at the same time. But that is obviously quite hard to be able to get the points in, mainly because this little bastard and he's a little Lord of Virulence nonsense with his spotting things. But what you could do is you could then obviously take out Tendril Submissions, put him in with those guys. That would give you the points for it. And then he can obviously deep strike in, mark a target, and these guys can indirect that target with full rolls to hit, which is pretty good. And it makes people stay back. So you could do that, yeah, you could drop that and get Shriekworm on him instead. Nothing wrong with that. So then you can obviously have a free Overwatch. So then you got 5d6 Flamers coming in from that little squad there. So it comes in, charges, kills something, stands around with the Flamers. It's already marked something else that's been indirected to death. And it also allows you to do things like Rapid Ingress for Heroic Intervention. That would be pretty damn cool, I think. Obviously, it's a shame that you obviously wouldn't have to lose all this. You'd then obviously still have this unit here. So you actually then have this as your list. That feels a little more spicy. That's feeling a bit better. Still got all the sort of like play, because that's 85, 80 plus 75, 155. Plus the enhancement back, which is 30, or some of these days is 185. Yeah, gets you these guys in, and you pick up the no Overwatch. That's pretty good. That I quite like. Because again, you're now threatening your opponent's backline here. With these guys at any time, you can obviously bring them in if someone pushing you aggressively. You can just bring them in to fight melee in your home lines. You've got Flash Mode stuff to deter that anyway. Bit of a Flamer Overwatch here. I'd also give one of your Plague Burst crawlers that plays more forward with a Flamer. So have double entropy and a Flamer, because you've still got these triple HBL drones. They'll shoot a lot of things to death. And now we've also got to keep all of our screens as well with these guys. So yeah, I think that actually there is probably where I'd go with your list. Because now your opponent has to constantly be scared of the 6-inch deep strike while you're in reserves. So they've got to think about that. They can't put as much pressure on you because they've got to think about the backlines. Then if you do get in there, you've got the rerolls to hit to make your indirect a lot better. Means you don't have to expose anymore. Like Tendril Submissions for me just always feels so trapped. Like he has to stay near these guys. They can only mark what they see. Whereas here you can drop in at a 6-inch deep strike, string the unit out to get him to mark somewhere. And then once you're in your opponent's backlines, being able to indirect with 4 rerolls is just so much more slappy. So yeah, I think that's where I'm probably going to go for yours, honey. I think that one feels pretty damn good to me. I quite like that. And again, you have a lot of shutdown here with these 2 foul bite spawns as well. So you're still shutting down a lot of that advancing, a lot of that pressure sort of nonsense that you're seeing going on. So yeah, that's where I'm going to go with this one. But yeah, that sort of brings us to the end of tonight. Hope you guys have not minded then the TTS thing. I will keep it going. For if you guys want me to keep it going. People seem to enjoy it, a bit more visual stimulation. Like you said, you get to see what the list physically looks like. This actually looks quite chunky now, got quite a few units still. When these were over here, I was like, oh, that looks really thin. And you bring it in, suddenly it feels a lot better. Like that's the way I like to make my list on TTS for this reason. Not because I'm playing on TTS, but because I just like to visualize what the list's going to look like. And it's a lot easier than getting my own models out. But yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of tonight's stream. If you haven't already, please feel free to hit a like and a subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. We do have an interview on the channel done yesterday by Dave with Next Level Painting, so Kenny Boucher. So check that out as well if you want to. He's got a very bougie event he's hosting on called Bottles and Bourbon, which is like a premiere 40k event. They have like a private like bar and everything and all that cool stuff. And you can get lessons whenever you want, whether it's coaching or if you want to go jump on an airbrush at any point. Sounds pretty snazzy. So check those out. Part of that though, like I said, consider becoming a member if you really want to get like your list reviewed, become a Blight Lord member. Maybe you can get your list looked to it next week. But part of that, anything you can do to help the channel obviously helps out. The content's coming up this week. So LVO Infection Critical tomorrow. Stream on Tuesday with myself, Will and Dave again as usual. And then I will do the how to play Iron Hands as the next video, and then after that, probably a weekend at some point, I'll try and get the next sample list video out. But it depends on time. Those videos with the sample list and the House Play on hands, when they're an hour in duration, it takes a lot longer than an hour to sort of make it, edit it, redo my takes, because no doubt I'll do something stupid or say something daft halfway through, which I'll need to go and fix. So please bear with. I am doing my best for you guys. But for now, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I will catch you all on the net. I'll catch you all on Infection Critical tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the stream on Tuesday. But thank you for joining me tonight on this Sunday night. Hope you guys have had an absolute blast and enjoy the TTS and all that kind of good stuff. And I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the last bits of your weekend. Work tomorrow. Make it stop. Take care for everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, God, I'm just worried now if I hit the ending screen, is it going to play every single song at once? Well, only one way to find out. Oh, God. Okay, I think I managed to silence it before it got too crazy. I think. Yeah, okay. Alright, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you later. Oh, I'm going to fix all this. Oh, dear. Bye-bye, guys. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Mandy. I'll catch you on the next one, hopefully. Apologies. Bad timing. I'm like the master of bad timing here. But, yeah, enjoy your evening, everyone. Catch you later.